Youde W2. Okay, this video is going to be a lot like my AGA T3 video. The problem with these items is that they're very, very difficult items to work with. Okay, I make videos as long as nobody else has done it, right? I checked out, looked around for you guys. Nobody seems to know how to put this thing together. Okay, there's a couple of builds, but there's no actual video of how to actually build this thing. There's a couple of reviews on it. A lot of people are just like, it's such a pain in the ass to build it. They're not even going to bother. So I'm going to go ahead and bother. All right. First, since I'm going to be building this for you, I might as well do a quick review as well, okay, even though normally I don't do item reviews. All right, this item is normally claimed to be 22 millimeters. It will kind of sort of sit flush on your like Nemesis and other 22 millimeter devices. However, the top ring, the belly over here, is more like a 24 millimeter. So although the bottom over here is 22 millimeters, after you screw it down, it's the ring. See that this body on this outside that makes it. This is a SS private mod. Okay, the private mod is like 24.6, 24.8 or something like that. So you see the way this thing is sitting on top of that. So it depends like what you consider as flush, the outer body or the inner body. Let's duck down and try to build this thing, okay? So this is one of those like, you know, do not attempt these things at home. Borderline, okay? Why? Because it's a quad coil device and it's very, very difficult to put together. Right, I'll show you what's underneath the hood in a second. Here, okay, it's going to be your 4 negatives on the outside sitting on the edge over here, and then your positive pin in the middle. Okay, I don't exactly recommend this as a great device. Why? Because of the airflow over here. See, it's only got a hole on this side and a hole on this side, but not on the other 2 edges. You see what I'm saying? So it's a quad coil, but it's a dual hole. That kind of, so you got 2 holes for a quad coil. That kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really make too much sense. You know what I mean? And this isn't really an item where, like, you know, you really want to go out of your way to drill and bore out and, you know, do more modification to it. It should have just came drilled out properly to begin with. Anyhow, so let me go ahead and put this thing on a meter so that like we can hold it in place, and then I'll start showing you how to build this thing. Okay. First, let me spin this sucker down, and let me show you over here. All right. Unlike other atomizers, right? Let's go ahead and remove the center pin first. Okay. Now, the holes, if you can see it, all right, is not. I'm not going to align the hole directly to the negative. Okay. It's going to be slightly off. So, okay. So what happens is that, like, let me get a screwdriver. The hole is over here and over here. Okay, and the center pin, the holes are like this, so it's going to be slightly off on each one. Okay, we purposely do this so that like we could fit in the coils correctly. Now, what I need to show you guys, right, is like, you know, your average 3-prong atomizer. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab something real quick, and this is like a IGO W4. Okay, now your average 3-prong atomizer over here, okay, like this one, you know, this one actually I build some special coils on it. I'll show you this one some other time. But the point is that like we normally thread the canthal through over to the other side, even for the center post. You could thread through to the other side, thread through to the other side, right? Okay. On the IGO W for W2 for the quad coil, we're not going to do that. Why? Because there's no room to do that. Okay, if you start messing around with that, your coils are going to completely fall apart. So when you thread things through, okay, it's just going to go in, but it's not going to go through to the other side where we break it off and try to make it clean. Right? You'll see what I mean in a second. So first, what we're going to do is that we're going to use like one of these shitty screwdrivers. You know what I'm talking about. It comes with like different kind of Genesis, drippers, things that you buy on Fast Tech, clones or whatever. Everybody has one of these little blue screwdrivers. Okay, so this is the size that I recommend. With me today, okay, we're going to be using 28 gauge canthal. The reason why 28 gauge is because this thing is a quad coil dripper. So why are we obviously, we're going to go ahead and build a dripper as hot as possible, but without exceeding certain dangerous amperage limits. Okay, you guys know me. I always do 30 amp or better batteries. Okay, so the thing is that, like, I tried to do this with 26 gauge Canthal earlier, and what happens is that it just built it way too hot. It went all the way down to 0.12, which is really stressing 30 amps on the battery. Okay, so let's not do that. Back it off a little bit. Use 28 gauge Canthal, 27 gauge Canthal at max. Okay, don't go to 26 like I did. That's really really stressing it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put 8 wraps on this thing. So I just put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then unlike most microcoils, you want them to be opposite of each other. So you want one this way and then one this way. Right, so after this, I'm going to get my large nail clipper, and then I'm going to chop off a little bit over here. Okay, so like building all microcoils, we're just going to pinch this sucker and torch it up. Okay, and then I'm going to continue to hold it like this for a little bit. Let it cool. Okay. With me on the side, I have 3 more that I already built ahead of time. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to do something very special here. Right. First of all, where the coil is, okay, we want the coil to face up from the body. You see what I'm saying? Not this way. This would be the coil facing down. We want this, the coil facing up. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and then stick this on my screwdriver, like so. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and then take one of the leads over here, okay, and then tilt it 45 degrees. Okay? Let me show you what's in my hand. All right, so one is tilted 45 degrees. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now from this point, okay, I'm going to use my nail clippers and clip this thing so that it's about like just 1 1/4 centimeters. I know this is very hard to calculate, okay, because this is going to be a pro build. So 1 1/4 centimeters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take all my coils and I'm going to shove them one by one on top of my screwdriver. Okay, and they're all going to be put on in the same way with the coils facing me. Okay, see that? All right, so now on each one of them, I'm going to take the top and bend it 45 degrees. See what I'm saying? Like this. They're all bent 45 degrees. The first one I already cut, right? So I'm going to go ahead now and then use my nail clipper, right? And then leave about 1 1/4 centimeter, not inch, centimeter. Okay? It's very important that you get this length just about right. Okay? Now, the top of these are all already bent. Now we could begin to install them into the atomizer. Okay, so what do? On one of these coils, I want to slightly bend it just a little bit, so there's a slight curve. Okay, so then when I take this thing over here and then I start to install it, okay, I'm gonna try to show you as best as I can on camera. Okay, I'm gonna stuff it in this way, and I'm gonna bend, and then it's in like so. See that? And then it starts to slowly go in. Right? Now, what we're gonna do is that we're going to hold the lead from the outside over here. Okay, bring this in, and then use a precision tweezer. Don't use the cheap tweezers. Okay, use a more precision tweezer, and then help guide your one lead into the positive post. Okay, it's not going to be easy to do. You're going to have to do each one individually, right? But what happens is that once you get it in there, okay, you want to, just slightly adjust so that like you make sure that like, you know, it's not too close, it's not too far, it's not touching the positive, it's not touching the negative body on the outside, right? And then we take our mini Allen key that it came with, all right, and then we tighten it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and remove this off of my deck and bring it closer to the camera so that you can see exactly what I just did with this one little coil. Okay, see that? All I did was install this one coil. Okay, it's a little difficult to see. Let me hold it down over here a little bit. All right. And as you can see, the lead for the positive, it doesn't go through to the other side. It just makes it into the center, and then that's it. And then it's the negative over here that's holding everything in place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to finish installing all 4 of them. Okay, and I'm going to edit that out, and then we'll come right back to, you know, okay? Okay, so this is basically what I have now. Okay, it's very clean on the inside. When I fire this up, you'll be able to see it even better on camera. Okay, so in the meantime, before we fire up anything, just gonna go ahead and give all my coils, you know, another pinch so they're nice and neat. Okay, and then a lot of arguments about, like, you know, putting this on a meter before firing it. It is my experience that before you fire up Kanthal, okay, especially with their micro coils and stuff, right? Before you fire it for the first time, if you attempt to meter it, the meter won't be accurate anyways. Okay, so that's why I'm going to meter it afterwards, because that's how I truly feel about it. Yeah, a lot of people, they meter it first, but then what happens is that you're going to put it on your mechanical mod, you're going to fire it a few times, and then when you put it back on the meter again, it's not going to be the same. Okay, it's going to be, like, you know, different. It's just going to be, depending on how sloppy your coil is, it's going to be way off. If your coil is, you know, built very nicely and whatever, then it'll just be off by a little. But the point is that, like, it's always going to be off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on this. Okay. Okay, this is all set. I'm going to go ahead and put the positive pin over here. Okay, it would be best to use a tweezer or a plier or something, okay, to, you know, give this thing a little more torque. Plier would be best. Okay, so I'm gonna gently tighten this thing down. I'm gonna do my finger first until we start to get that right. Okay, now I'm gonna take this and then tighten it further. Okay, because we want to make sure that, you know, the positive gives contact to every single one of these coils. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and attempt to fire this now. Alright, so now that we got this even, go ahead and take a tweezer, spin, 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 spin. Right, because I feel as if spinning it is a lot cleaner than clipping it. Alright, so now all the coils are nice and even, sitting on top over here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to thread this sucker. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Let's get a fresh ball of cotton. Alright, as always, I teach you guys with doing cotton, right, is if we unraveled a ball of cotton, it is like a carpet, like so, right? So I'm just going to take a nice section of this thing, right, and then I'm going to rip it in half, okay, because I don't believe in measuring fibers, right, because it's a density issue. It's not a length issue. It's not a width issue. So I'm going to rip that out. Actually, I like this piece. This piece looks a little more uniform. So I'm going to rip this in half again. So, as always, I'm working with quarter strips, right? Because I find that easier to understand as opposed to like it should be this length or that length, because this is about the density of the fiber. It's not about a width. All right, so let's take this thing and then start twisting. Twist, twist, twist. Okay, and I feel as if maybe this much is good enough. All right, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start threading all around like a donut, okay? But not exactly what you think. So what I'm going to do is that the first one that I thread it through like so, okay, I'm going to pull through with my tweezers, okay? And pull through as much as I can over here, right? Play a stop around there. Then I go to my next coil and then I thread it through. However, once I thread this through, okay, once it goes through, okay, I'm not going to pull it down all the way, okay? I'm going to give it a little pillow over here, like so. See what I'm saying? Okay, it's not going to be, you know, pulled out smooth. So I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. Okay, see, now it's like little balls over here. So I'm going to take this thing, thread it through here. Okay. All right, it's coming in there. Okay, and then for this section over here, okay, just going to cut it off, but you know, just give it a little more. See what I'm saying? Like that. Okay. Now there you go. See, these are my 4 corners, right? So it's kind of like a clover. Okay. So after this, right, is when we're going to go ahead and saturate it with some juice. I'm not going to talk about what juice I use as usual because it's not important. And then there you go. Okay. Take a flathead screwdriver, tuck this in a little bit. The reason why you want a little more on the sides over here so that, like, you know, you could get a couple more hits before you have to you know, drip again. This isn't really an item because of the big flat, like, you know, positive screw in the middle. I don't really find this item like an item where you could just go ahead and drip through the cap. This is more like you definitely want to take the cap off and then drip before you know, take each hit. Okay, so that's that. This is set. I'm going to put this cap on and match up the air holes. Let me spin this off, and then for the sake of safety, as usual, we're going to go ahead and put this on a meter. Okay, and then see what it's at. It should be very low because obviously it's a quad coil. Okay, so this thing is clocking in at 0.41. Okay, see this 0.41. All right, good enough. So let's go ahead and I don't know. I haven't even vaped this thing yet, so let's see how it vapes like for the first time. Okay, I'm gonna give it a test fire real quick so that if it blows up in my hands and not in my face. I'm just kidding because you know, the batteries that I use are definitely well within the parameters because I always use 30 amp batteries or better. You know, definitely don't fuck around. So I'm going to line up the air holes over here, and as I always mention in other videos and stuff like that, it is always best to get yourself a wide bore drip tip, okay, because it's going to make all that difference when you're vaping. So let's go ahead and give this thing a test. Big? Yeah. Okay. So that is the iGo W2, and that's how you build it. All right. Any other questions? Leave me comments down below, and I will answer you as quickly as I can. All right. Take care, guys.